Hey folks, this is Philip with the Everyday Fighter podcast. A couple years into my martial arts journey, one of the black belts in my class, Jeremy, he approached me and asked me, hey, what do you think about helping me out with the kids class? And he's actually head of our kids program. Wasn't anything that I had aspired to. It kind of took me by surprise. And I was like, well, I don't know. He's like, well, just come on down on the weekend and help me out and just see if you like it or not, And I got to tell you, that was one of the best decisions that I ever made. Forever grateful to Jeremy and seeing something in me, asking me to come along. And it really opened my eyes to not only my own passions, but also what was possible. His class was very different than what I was used to. As I mentioned, our style was very traditional. I might have said it in the past where there was a lot of bowing, a lot of Japanese spoken. Wasn't really the case in his class though. And I don't think it was even so much because it was a kids class versus our adult class, because, I'd helped out. After that, I helped out in our other programs as well in other cities, and they're much more traditional. But so it was more of like a flavor that Jeremy had brought, where he had a lot of other fighting experience, from grappling to boxing, and he brought that in, and that was something that was very foreign to me. I mean, I was pretty much on the straight and narrow of like, okay, this is our style, right, and we don't really navigate outside of that, and it wasn't anything that I really kind of questioned. It was just like, okay, well, I'm learning this. This is what, this is the thing that I do now, this traditional form of karate. I'm not looking at anything else. But Jeremy brought a lot of that into his kids' classes. And that was something that's very, very exciting for me to see. It's like, oh my gosh, we can do this. This is new, and this is actually pretty cool. So that was a big deal for me. And one of the things that he brought into it as well, kind of not only in terms of just fun, but it also, I think, really made a difference for the kids that we taught. Particularly in tournament situations where, our style was very, very rough. And, even at an early age with the kids, they could be tested a lot, both physically and emotionally and mentally. And one of the things that Jeremy brought in, I think this is, his, the influence that he got from boxing was the idea of fighting names. He called them fighting names, nicknames. And that wasn't anything that I was really exposed to much. I mean, I'd seen the boxing matches here and there growing up, but was never really fully into it. So I'd seen Tyson and, all these other guys that had their fighting names. So it was really interesting to me that he brought that into this kind of traditional form of martial arts. And because that initially it was kind of a fun thing, but then over time we realized, wow, this actually makes a difference, right? Particularly when the kids are kind of, a little shy. They don't have that confidence as of yet, but when we gave them the fighting names, and these were earned too. I mean, it's like they'd start class, maybe on their first day, and we kind of see how they move and what their personality's like, and then at the end of the class, okay, this is your fighting name, and they'd be kind of like, oh, it's kind of weird. And I know what they felt like because Jeremy gave me my own fighting name as well. He called me the Flash. I didn't know it at the time, but apparently there was a very successful and popular Filipino boxer, and I'm Filipino, in the 50s, I believe. and his fighting name was the Flash, so he gave that same name to me. But that was something that the kids had, and I'd see that they couldn't really sometimes. They didn't have the skill, they didn't have the confidence to pull off certain things, right? But then, we remind them, hey, this is your nickname. You are the Dominator. You are whatever. We had this one kid. He was French, so his nickname was Papillon, which is it means butterfly in French. But even with that nickname, you think very, very soft. He was a very soft-spoken kid, But I mean, it was just something that was not who he regularly was, right? It was kind of like a persona. It was a different part of him, a part of him that could do things that need to get done. Right. And I think that was something that I felt at times as well, especially when I was tested with things, and Jeremy's, hey, come on, Flash, you can do it. Come on, Flash, and, initially it was kind of weird to hear kind of a nickname for myself in that way. But then over time, that was me. Maybe I couldn't do it. Philip couldn't do it, but the Flash could. Right. So, I'm thinking maybe that's something that might be helpful to you. I mean, if it's such that you don't have that confidence right now, you don't have the skill, you don't feel like you have what it takes to do what needs to be done, is there a nickname that you can take on? Is there a persona? Is there somebody else that's part of you that you can enhance, that you can cultivate in that particular time to do what needs to be done? It's kind of like if you're Clark Kent, then putting on that Superman persona, right? Clark Kent can't do it, but Superman can. Bruce Wayne can't do it, but Batman can, right? They're the same person. It's just they have a different identity in that particular time. And that's what I think that the fighting names gave not only to me, but also the kids in that class. So hope that's helpful to you. Take on a name. Take on something that feels right to you. If it's something that you feel is outside of who you are, but close enough that you could still identify with it, that might be helpful to get you over that next hump. What's the nickname that you can give yourself? What is that fighting name that you can take on that maybe you as yourself wouldn't be able to do, but that fighting person, that fighting name, the person that has that name can get it done. This is Philip with the Everyday Fighter Podcast. We'll talk to you next time.